Oh, fishing golf with first blood. Rock and roll. Ooh, I didn't plug my headphones in. You know what? I don't need them today. You know what? Let's just do the show. Let's do the damn thing. All right. Okay, so. Oh, I'm still working on the studio thing, guys. I added a pop filter here because I heard a couple of pop noises I didn't like in the sound on yesterday's show. I might need to rethink the positioning of this pop filter. I may not have an option here. Anywho, so there's still some stuff to fix here and there. Still trying to get some stuff put together. You can see I'm kind of, so I got the microphone in a better position. I should be getting a little bit better audio quality out of it being positioned here. But at the same time, that kind of puts it in the way of one of my monitors. Now I can still see you guys pretty good. I can still see where you guys are commenting, stuff like that. And got some work doing the backdrop, but everything's coming along nicely. And I appreciate y'all coming back and watching the show, even as we're working on getting it put together and getting everything kind of cleaned up and looking right. So this morning's show is going to be a little bit tricky to get through because I have to make sure that you guys have all the information and it has to fit together. And I've been kind of struggling this morning trying to decide what the best way to do that is. Xander Max says he thinks I'm on the wrong mic. That would not be good. Let's see what's going on here. Alex, am I on the wrong mic or am I on two mics? Because those are two different problems. And you know what? If y'all can hear me, I'm gonna run with it so that I don't have a bunch of dead air like we did yesterday and Monday. We've had some technical difficulties this week. If I happen to be on the wrong mic, or maybe and Alex, it's also possible I switched out to a different XLR cable because I needed a longer one to get it to here, to get it to where it is. So I might just have to do a tech call or something in the not too distant and get that working right again. So anyway, here's what I've got. I was actually going to talk about something else this morning, but then I saw this headline and I think this is worth talking about. I think this is definitely worth talking about. Okay, Alex says we hear you fine. Wrong mic. Okay. I'll ask you for clarification later, Alex. Kind of chirp. Okay, I'll just have to go back and listen to this. So there's this article. I took the one from Newsweek, and we'll take a look at this. Secret Service sniper demands 5 people be fired for Trump shooting. But that shouldn't really be the headline, right? And it's like they're kind of trying to bury something. But at the same time, let me. I had multiple articles pulled up with this. Okay. See, MSN is running this headline from the New York Post. Secret Service sniper warns another assassination attempt could be imminent as agency's failures are exposed. Right? But Newsweek gives us this headline. Sniper demands 5 people be fired. The Secret Service counter-sniper is demanding that 5 high-level supervisors be fired in the wake of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, warning that another attempt could come before November's election, a leaked email says. So let me get you guys clear on some things. Secret Service is right there in the name, secret. Okay? Those of us who have spent time in and around the intelligence community, the clandestine services community, those of us who have actually gone through the induction ceremonies and been inducted into the clandestine services operations, special intelligence type of stuff like I used to do. Y'all, we take that classification shit pretty seriously. Okay? We sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, with the government. And this was one of the problems with the Clinton email scandal. Right? We've talked about how it's very difficult to prove intent, except, and of course, Comey said, well, she did it. She totally did it, but we don't think she understood what she was doing. She signed a document. She signed the NDA. The NDA doesn't just say, I won't tell the bad guy our secrets. It says, I have been briefed. I have had another human being sit me down with a great big stack of paper and explain to me, this is what it means to break the NDA. Not these are the consequences, that too, but these are the things that constitute a violation of the NDA. Here's the whole list. If it's not on this list, it's not a violation. If it's on this list, it's a violation. Right? So it's not possible. It is only possible that either she lied when she signed the document that says, I fully and completely understand that I've promised not to tell anybody the secrets, and I understand what that means. Right? So either she lied when she signed the document, which, I mean, we're talking about a Clinton, so a lie isn't all that surprising. But the fact is, those of us who have had to sign that kind of paperwork, we understand what this means. I say that to get to this point. We've seen a lot of leaks out of administrations in the last several years. There was a lot of leaking coming out of the Trump administration, and frankly, that's because Trump, the biggest mistake that Trump made is he did not begin his administration by firing everybody. That's a tangent that I don't want to go too far down, but just real quick, let me kiss it. All the Dems that are going on and on about the whole Project 2025 thing, one of the big items that they talk about on there is Trump's going to come in and remove everybody and replace them with conservative sycophants and yes men, and yeah, God, I hope so. Because that's what happens every time there's a new president, except for when Donald Trump was elected and inaugurated. Biden did it, Obama did it. They both fired everybody that wasn't a diehard sycophant supporter, right? If you go and check the records and see that, you know, find anybody in the administration that Biden had the authority to fire, if they still have a job, I guarantee you'll find that they were there under Obama through Trump because they were spies. They were essentially political espionage agents. So that, you know, so you saw a lot of leaking coming out of the Trump administration, and leaks, right? Like I said, those of us who've signed the NDAs, we take this shit seriously. So leaks don't happen by accident. This email being leaked, an internal office email between clandestine services operators, this was not leaked by accident. So what's the objective? Well, let me first, and this, because this has to be taken seriously, let me first explain to you, because you may not all know. First, let's talk about what a chilling effect is. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard the phrase chilling effect. And the use of the phrase chilling effect is not just one that is used in kind of a general sense of if you constantly beat people, and, you know, criminals will do violence to people for using the N-word, then nobody will ever say the N-word again. That's a chilling effect. Right? Now, in the legal sense, there is a legal principle here. And the proof of the chilling effect in a legal sense constitutes a violation of the suppression of civil liberties under color of law, Section 242, we've talked about many, many times. When it can be proved that that's what the government is doing. Chilling effect is the concept of deterring free speech and association rights protected by the First Amendment as a result of government laws or actions that appear to target expression. Right? So anytime the government law or action appears to target expression, then they are engaged in the use of the chilling effect to try and suppress your civil liberties, right? So here's what the Secret Service has just done. Some person at the Secret Service, and this is what y'all know, I'm not a big fan of the RICO laws but you know what? Fuck them. Burn it to the ground. Secret Service, the FBI, the CIA, abolish them. Because they are little more than organized crime. They are the enforcement. They are the militant wing of the Democrat Party. They're not agencies of the US government anymore. There is no reasonable expectation, given the current climate, that any of the alphabet soup agencies are anything more than the militant wing of the Democrat Party. That is especially true of the FBI, and now that is clearly and obviously true of the FBI at a minimum, and now more and more it looks like that is also true of the Secret Service. The Secret Service has essentially been flipped with by the cult of Die, right? The death cult is engaged in using the Secret Service to try and rig the election. So how is it that they're doing it here with this leak? Because let's be real. You and I both know there's no way in hell Donald Trump stops doing rallies 100 days out from the election. What are we, 97, 98 days out from the election? We're less than 100 days out from the election right now. There's no way in hell Donald Trump stops doing rallies between now and then. But it wasn't Donald Trump that was shot and murdered by a Biden supporter, by a leftist a couple of weeks ago. It was not Donald Trump that was murdered at the rally. It was one of his supporters. Now, this is not, I'm not espousing a conspiracy theory here that was the intent. I'm saying that was simply the outcome. And as a result, what they can look at now is, well, we couldn't stop Trump there. We failed to kill him. But if we tell all his supporters that basically you're playing Russian roulette if you go to a Trump rally, then maybe if we can knock his crowds down by 10%, just 1%. All right, what's 1% of a Trump rally? That's dozens, if not hundreds, of people. We can knock him if we can knock any rally down by just a little bit, by just scaring a handful of people into thinking they're taking their lives into their own hands if they go to a Trump rally. That's the point. That's the point. And here's the problem with Republicans generally, right? You know, I think I was saying something about this yesterday on the show. Dean says, hey, nice shirt. Hey, thank you. My wife makes these for me. Yeah. Got a closet full of them. Bespoke, custom, tailored. Appreciate it. Oh. And there you go. Yes, we are live. In case that's what you were checking for. Damn, son. You broke my train of thought. Okay, so the point is to engage that chilling effect. Now, if there were any doubt that the government has been co-opted, breached, right? Okay. I'm gonna deal with this. I'm gonna deal with this tangent real quick, and then we'll go back to talking about the government being breached. Unverified Bear says he's never had a compliment about a shirt before, and I know Bear, you're being facetious there. And Maul points out the fabric for this one. Yeah, this one we bought the fabric at the Punch Bowl in Hawaii. And yes, my wife does make these shirts, and there's a few reasons for that. I'm a very large man. It's hard to find these shirts, which I personally find to be terribly comfortable, and I just generally like them. And they're great for your daily carry. But my wife does make them, and I've told her many, many times, and she didn't believe me for the longest time. And telling this story is the whole reason I went ahead and accepted this little tangent from you, Bear. I've told her many, many times, you know, if I go out, if I leave the house, if I go out in public, somebody will say, hey, nice shirt. No exaggeration. It is 99% guarantee that if I go out in public and I'm seen by humans, somebody will say, hey, man, nice shirt. And every time it happens, especially if I actually stop and talk to somebody, you know, like go to the bank, go to a restaurant, you know, a teller, whatever, they compliment the shirt. And I know that if you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt, generally people will compliment it, but I'm serious. It's uncanny how often it happens with these. And I always, when that happens, I say, thanks, my wife made it. And as soon as I say that, it's always, no way, she made that? Yeah, No tag. But so it's actually a particular point of pride. And Dean asks, what is daily carry? You know what, Dean? If you don't know what daily carry is, you need to hit that subscribe button and make sure that you watch every Friday morning when we talk about DGUs. And I'm not going to explain that any further. I want you to come back. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Oh, you spelled it with two N's. That's very cautious of you, Dean. Yeah, come back on Friday and watch the defensive gun use show. We do that every Friday. You'll have fun. We are not afraid to talk about guns on this show, Dean. it's kind of yes. Oh shit, Bear. So, chilling effect. If there has been any doubt that that the government has been co-opted, has been breached, and it's the Chinese. It is. Yeah, Dean, come back on Friday and bring that up, and we'll address that, because, wow, it's loves. It's just the lies are just palpable there. I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm saying you've been lied to. But come back and ask those questions on Friday. That's not what we're talking about today. So Zuckerberg tells Rogan FBI warning prompted Biden laptop story censorship. Right there. That is the FBI engaged in election interference. So election interference is by itself a crime, and it being done by a government agency makes it a violation of the First Amendment. Right? That is the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, a federal agency engaged in politics, which by itself is prohibited. Right? When you're in uniform or acting in an official capacity in any way, you do not have a political opinion. Unless you are an elected official, officially, you do not have a political opinion. Showing up at a protest rally, a political protest rally, pro-life, pro-choice, pro-war, anti-war, doesn't really matter. Showing up at a protest rally in uniform, if you're not there to shoot protesters, that's a good way to get thrown out. By the way, if you're in uniform and you're there to shoot protesters, that's also a good way to get thrown out, unless you have orders because you're National Guard and there's something going on like, I don't know, the Summer of Love, where we really should have been shooting protesters. As a government entity, acts of insurrection like the Summer of Love should definitely. Alex points out that the Supreme Court said it was perfectly fine for government to interfere with social media. Yeah, we need to. I have not covered that case as directly as I had intended to. It's been, trying to get caught up on everything. And yes, Dean, I mean the summer of 2020. There were riots that clearly equated to insurrection. With the establishment of autonomous zones. That is insurrection in particular. January 6th was in no way an insurrection. That is an incorrect use of the word. An insurrection involves armed local nationals conducting acts of war. That January 6th, if you're being hyperbolic, you could call it a riot. That's a riot would be a little bit of a stretch. It was a protest. And I'm not going to go any further down that particular rabbit hole. Now, what Xander said about the Supreme Court saying it was perfectly fine for government to interfere with social media, what the Supreme Court really did there is they punted. And I don't I mean that to be a clarification. I don't mean to argue with you on it, Xander, but they really didn't. They didn't make an explicit determination. They kind of pushed it back. Unless you and I are talking about two different cases, which is also possible. But I'll come back to that in a bit. I've got a few more pieces that I want to share as far as evidence to what's going on with the co-opted agencies. We also know that the FBI, the FBI has shown us a pretty serious habit of fabricating evidence, right? The whole Ruby Ridge thing, that was a honey trap, fabrication of evidence. The FBI went in and they turned a man into a criminal. They didn't go and find a criminal and then attempt to prosecute him. They made a man into a criminal. They coerced him into committing a crime. Then you've got the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping hoax, and it should rightly be called a hoax, because once everything was adjudicated, we learned that there were twice as many federal agents involved in the hoax as non-federal agents. The entire thing was a bunch of feds basically running a honey trap on like 3 dudes, all of whom, by the way, we found out later that all three or four of the guys that were involved in that were civilians. They had been asked to assassinate Whitmer, kidnap Whitmer, set fire to Whitmer's house, and they were all on board to do some kind of like protest thing, but there was never any evidence, and they all said that they refused. There was never any evidence that any of the non-federal agents were ever on board for any kind of violence, right? It kept having to get walked back. So, oh, it was an assassination attempt. Oh, well, it was a kidnapping attempt. Oh, they were going to set her house on fire. Dean points out 2 of them pleaded guilty and offered to testify on behalf of the prosecution as part of a favorable plea deal, so they wouldn't spend a lot of time in jail. Yes, and that there are some appeals and additional adjudications going on with that I've kind of lost track of, because the whole case is getting a little old now. And by getting a little old, I don't mean we're getting tired of it. I mean, it was a while ago, so it's hard to keep up with. But yeah, so we've got the FBI basically just running ops. And in fact, if you go back and look at the record, it's very difficult to find a case of the FBI being involved in any kind of high-profile activity. Like, go look at the so-called terrorist attacks that the FBI is credited with having thwarted, and it's all the same kind of garbage. The FBI is basically never been. It's not that they're not an effective law enforcement agency. They've never actually been a law enforcement agency. That's not the job that the FBI does. The FBI is not law enforcement. The FBI is a propaganda machine. They are the militant wing of the Democrat Party, and always have been. The job of the FBI is to destroy the Republic. Dean says he's glad that people like that are not walking free. I assume you're talking about the handful of... Yeah. That's cute, Dean. But we're already at 8 o'clock, so I gotta wrap this up. So there's a Trump rally in Atlanta this Saturday. Now, I'm not promising I'm going to be there, because let's be fair. That's a long fucking drive. But there is one in Atlanta this Saturday. It is, you know, let me pull it up and see. I'll pull up the events page and we'll, wow. I just typed in Trump rallies, and the Trump events page isn't even on the first page of Trump rally schedule. U.S. presidential news, that's the rally schedule, but that's, I'm looking for, see, that there's no way that this shouldn't have been the first page under there. Okay. Harrisburg. Okay, here we go. Hold a rally in Atlanta, Georgia. It's at 5 o'clock. It is the Georgia State University Convocation Center on Capitol Avenue. I don't know if I don't know if trying to get anywhere on Capitol Avenue on a Saturday sounds like any good to me. Dean says it's the first hit. No, what should have been the first hit, Dean, was the event schedule. That's what I was saying. I was looking for the page that actually had the event schedule and the ticket order. But anyway, so yeah, I mean the Trump page should have been the first one. But yeah, so there is an event this Saturday. It's at the Georgia State University Convocation Center. That's on Capitol Avenue in downtown Atlanta. And I guess oh, nice. Hey, Waller, Zand, hey, I tell you what, guys, if y'all want to meet me somewhere, if y'all want to go, I'll go. I'll go if y'all are gonna meet me there. If y'all want to come out and play, I'll play. Let's do it. We can go get lunch and then roll in, or vice versa. We can roll in and then get lunch. I don't give a shit. I'll hit you guys up in. I'll hit the handful of you guys that I know can be there in Messenger or something, and maybe we can do something. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in it there. Thanks for watching this morning, guys. Dean, you should definitely follow us and come back on Friday for DGUs. We do a great show on DGUs, and yeah, it'll be. And Xandermack makes a very good point. He says it's the same place Harris held her rally. They'll be able to directly compare ticket value and volume. And Ma says we should go to the varsity. Ma, I just lost 60 pounds. I'm not looking to find them again. But thanks for watching this morning, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.